Okay, quick mic check. I'll be good to go. All right, sounds like it's okay. All right, there we go. Oh, I forgot to get rid of that layer. One second. There we go. Okay. All right, all set now. Finally. Anyways, yeah, I'll be working on this painting again today. We'll see if I can finish it. That'd be nice. Or get it to, I'll call it stream finish. I've come to the conclusion that finished and stream finish aren't always the same thing. Oh, there it is. Looking for my coffee. Okay, there we go. There's always some final little setting to change or something. I don't know. Feels like there's always more stuff to do. So, if anybody's joining me now or later and you're carefully viewing this and you realize, hold on a second, there's some changes to his face. Yeah, I messed up some of it and now I have to fix it. Very, very, very common in my painting practice. Mostly I think it's his nose. Some of his eye and stuff, but the nose is the big one. Sorry, I was getting distracted by my cat. Let me check something real quick. I want to make sure my settings are okay with the sound. Okay. Weird. All right, just making sure. I was worried that you guys could hear my music. I think maybe you can. That's not good. Hold on a second. If you can't hear it, I think YouTube can though. Let me, all right. Let me do a quick check on this real quick. All right. I think this is okay now. Hopefully I'm not too low now. Yes, it's acting weird. What is going on with my audio? Sorry, it's just I can see the I can see the numbers and it looks like it's low for some reason. All the okay, everything's there. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, it sounds okay in my earbuds, so just I guess I'll just leave it as is. Alrighty. Let's see. How do I want to start this today? I think I'm just going to go in and draw in some of the corrections that I need. And then from there, keep moving on. A lot of these changes are very small, but I will be getting to the bigger ones in just a minute. Not starting early today would be you know, a cool thing, but maybe starting later is better. Or maybe it's just making any kind of change is not good for the stream. I don't know. Not a big deal. Luckily, YouTube's great about having the VODs up for, well, basically forever. So people can always catch it later. So right now I'm just comparing my drawing or my painting and my reference so that I can see where I need to make adjustments. Sometimes things as I paint just move around a little. I'm not as exact as some other people may be. I'm keeping all my edges where they should be. And so things tend to slightly migrate as I go through the painting process. Which, I'll be honest, is not really a big deal in my opinion. At least it's not if you compensate for it. And if you don't mind repainting everything multiple times. Thing is, if you're not afraid of making mistakes, having to repaint everything, uh, well, first of all, it really takes the pressure off, right? And I know personally that's a huge thing. I uh, I know so many artists. I'm one of them who used to buy sketchbooks and would almost never draw in them and never fill them up because I didn't want to put in any drawings that were bad. Or if I bought an expensive sketchbook, I wouldn't touch it because I didn't want to waste the paper or something. I don't know. The rationale doesn't exactly make sense, but one of the things I did to change that for sketchbooks was I made a goal of filling up sketchbooks. I don't really use sketchbooks right now, but when I do, or if I go back to using them, the goal is to fill them up as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Obviously, I don't mean just like taking them and scribbling, you know, but yeah, not worrying about the quality as much. The thing about not worrying about the quality too is worth mentioning. It's not that I don't care about the quality. Of course I care, but there's a huge difference between caring and worrying about it. Those aren't the same thing. All right, almost done with this part. And once I'm done with this, I'll be moving over. I'll be moving on um, to quote unquote actually painting it. Right now, I can't actually see all the colors and everything of the reference because all I'm looking at is my own painting overlaid with the reference. All right, just a second here. All right. Excuse me for just a second. Just gonna stretch my back. All righty. One thing that's very very difficult when painting is situations like this where in the reference he has hair that's like falling over his forehead, and without that hair it makes his forehead look a lot larger, of course, and it changes kind of the shape of him. But I don't want to put that hair in right now and have to paint like in between the strands kind of thing. So that's an area where it can be challenging sometimes. I don't squint enough at my paintings. It's very good to do. It's harder for me to do when I feel like when I'm streaming, but it's very good to do it. Alrighty. So the paint at this point in the painting is at a weird stage where because I worked on it last night as well, some of the paint is very wet. Some of it's very dry and a lot of in between. So uh, I would say maybe ideally I would just put it aside and not work on it at all until everything was dry. Um, I'm not going to do that, but maybe it might be the ideal thing to do, theoretically. The reason I'm not going to do it is just because I honestly just want to work on this and finish it versus the other painting I have, which I do want to work on and just I want to do this one more. Kind kind of simple. Also, I have too many paintings at the moment that are just waiting to be finished, so I do want to just kind of make sure that I start and finish it and not let it hang around. So I changed some of the colors from the original reference photo. And even though I'm well, okay, even though I'm really good at Photoshop, I say pretty good, but I'm really good at certain things in Photoshop. Uh, it's still really difficult to change colors of things and make it look right. Not impossible, of course, but it is very, very challenging because there's just so much reflected light into everything. We don't even realize how much is actually there. I worked on some images once that were shot on a green screen and um, went through the whole process of color keying out the background and replacing it and everything, which isn't very hard, especially nowadays. It's gotten so much easier actually. But the big deal was color correcting the people. The amount of green that was reflected back into everything was crazy. Once I took out the background, the if I put the people on like a neutral color, they looked green, like straight up green. That a ton of color correction had to go in to fix it to make it look, real. And a lot of cameras actually um, don't do a good job of picking up all the nuance in color in people. And we lose a ton of that information in the camera. The difference is that once it's corrupted with other color, A, you're not going to get that color back. And then B, you're never going to know what it was. So there's no way of like adding it back in. And I'm talking about like very, very subtle color shifts in the face and in the skin. You know, when you see people and they have like, they'll have like blue or green tones in their skin. It's very subtle stuff. Um, Cameras suck at picking that up anyways. But then if you add something that has harsh bounced color and then also try and change that color, a lot of those subtleties are just gonna fall away. Unless, I don't know what, maybe. Sure, there are some people who can pull it off. Also, it depends on what it's shot too. That there's all kinds of technical stuff of like shooting with log profiles that preserve all that information, but you know, that's some high-end stuff there that a lot of people don't use. And my palate's a little dry. I didn't think it would be, but yep. Oh, I try and keep my head out of the shot sometimes. Just pops in there. All right. Hey, Des. You had to go out for a bit, but home now. Hey, no worries. How you doing? I hope it was something fun that you went out for. Uh, Recaption window. Hi, is this oil painting? Yes, it is. Welcome. Yep, it is oil painting. And if you see me, or rather hear me talking to people and you don't see them in chat, I have two chats going on. I have both YouTube and uh, Twitch chat simultaneously. So that's why. Des says, went to buy a dog crate. Not too fun, but we are getting a snowstorm over the next few days. Oh, crap. Well, I hope it's not too bad, the storm. Recaption window. Are you an artist? I know a lot of artists usually come in here. It's like a, I don't know, 30-70 chance or 70-30 chance that you're an artist just based off of, the people that tend to come in here. Uh, yes, but I'm just a beginner. Hey, we all start somewhere. Everyone's a beginner at some point. That's great. What kind of art do you like to do? You want to learn how to oil paint? Well, that's great. Oil painting's fun. It is my preferred medium of choice. Although I will say all mediums are really good. It just depends on what you want to do. Have you oil painted before or haven't tried it yet? Or a portrait artist, mostly ink and graphite? Okay, cool. It says I recently started oil painting too. It was a challenge, but don't let it scare you. I always let things scare me. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Oils come across as scary, but they're really not. Recaption window said, I have tried. I started with acrylic and finished with oils. Uh, yeah, that's you know, definitely an approach, a valid approach. I'm not a huge fan of acrylics personally, uh, but that's definitely approach and also has a ton of advantages. So yeah, definitely nothing wrong with it. But yeah, oils are really not they're intimidating, but I wish they weren't because I don't think they should be. I also think they're the most forgiving medium, other than maybe digital. Uh, the caption window said, "Yeah, I was complaining about my paint drying too fast, and someone told me to switch to oil." Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely can extend acrylics with mediums to help it. Like I think there's a retarder medium that makes it dry slower, but you know, it also makes it more transparent, which is the problem, and more liquidy. So it's not all, those things aren't always preferred. So yeah. Yeah, oils are great. Um, have you read up on oils as far as safety is concerned? Because there are some unique safety hazards with oils that other mediums don't have. And actually, I'm just going to go through them right now because I like to do that every once in a while. Recaption window says, yeah, that's why I haven't been doing a lot of it. Okay. So here's the thing. A lot of people are scared of oils because of all of those reasons. But the reality is that most of the health concerns or the safety concerns in oil, most of them are the same as every other medium. Uh, all pigments can be toxic. It just depends on the pigment, right? All right, I'm trying to do something here. I'm like, okay, there we go. So all pigments can be toxic or not, depending on the pigment itself. Um, and a lot of people are afraid of the fumes, but you don't have to paint with things that have fumes in oils. And acrylics can also have fumes, but that's for some reason no one warns about that. And then, as Des alluded to, my favorite warning is spontaneous combustion. And that is the big one that often isn't, you know, people don't talk about or they don't teach, new people about. But yeah, you do have to be cautious of spontaneous combustion with oil paints, specifically the rags. So when you paint, you're using linseed oil or walnut oil or whatever other oils. These oils dry through oxidation, and that can generate heat. It's not a problem on your canvas. As far as I know, I've never heard of it being a problem. It's basically not a problem except for if you have, let's say, a paper towel soaked in oil and you crumple it up and throw it in the trash, it can keep all that heat inside and then it can combust. So it it's not, I'll say this, unless your rags are soaked, it's not likely, but precaution being what it is, you'd rather be safe than sorry. Um, the way to deal with that is you can buy a special trash can for it. Um, so you can buy a special trash can for it if you want. That's a great option. You can let your rags dry, laying them out flat. That way they can't store up that heat. Or you can put them in a, airtight jar with which is what I do. I put it in a jar with water and soap. And then when the jar fills up, I take it to someplace, to dispose of kind of thing. And so it's not a big deal, but you just got to be aware of it. It's one of those things that it also, if you ever end up doing housework or woodwork or anything like that, and you use oil to stain wood or, stuff like that, yeah, you got to be careful of it in that scenario as well. So I don't think it's really that. I mean, let me put it this way: it's not that big of a deal until it happens, but as long as you take the necessary precautions, it won't. I don't think it'll happen, you know. And yeah, you definitely don't have to use things that have what's it called, fumes. You can paint without solvents, and there are some solvents that have less fumes than others as well. So there are options out there. And the only time I personally have ever gotten sick from fumes with paint, it was from an acrylic paint. So, it just goes to show you. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Des says, by the way, my daughter loves your paintings. She was walking by and saw it. Oh, thank you so much, Des. And say thank you to her as well. Recaption window says, do you paint without solvents? I do most of the time. I have animals. I have three cats and a dog. And cats are especially sensitive to fumes. So I paint without solvents. I do use solvents to clean my brushes, but I only do that at the very, very end, and it's really just something that takes like a couple minutes. Other than that, my solvents are sealed in an airtight container. Um, so, so yeah. Um, I occasionally I'll use them. They are useful, but they're not necessary. Even for cleaning the brush, my like even for cleaning my brushes, I don't have to use them. It's just a convenience thing, honestly. That says she's a big Potterhead and a Doctor Who fan. You also like his crime series, Broadchurch. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I think if I remember correctly, I've seen that, but I don't like my recollection of it is so I can't remember what it's about right now. But I'm 90% sure I've seen that show. But yeah, but other than that, like as long as you don't eat your paints and you don't use them as moisturizers, you should be pretty good. Only reason I wear gloves um, is because, like I said, I have cats. If I want to pick up my cat, if I need to pick up my cat for some reason, it's good to have instantly clean hands. Um, I'm not really concerned about the pigments, or like getting into my skin or anything like that. Not with how I'm painting and the paints I use and everything. So, and also any and every concern that you have about pigments, about toxicity would apply to what's it called to acrylics as well, with the exception of lead, because I don't think there's a lead. Don't think acrylics have lead white, but basically, other than that, everything is the same. Watercolor is even more dangerous in some ways, as far as pigments are concerned, because they grind the pigments up way finer for watercolor. So, and I didn't, I wasn't aware of this, but they do make they make cadmiums for watercolors, which I think is kind of crazy. Um, yeah. So yeah, don't eat your paints. It should be good. And I guess, be cautious of the spontaneous combustion. But yeah, you can see, I mean, I just use like old old containers of this one is peanut butter pretzels that I just put water and soap in. So you can also use water soluble oil paints. The only thing about those is just be aware of a few things. First of all, they're a little more of a specialty, so don't go with the cheapest brand you can find, which is, I think, Reeves. They're not good. Go with one of the bigger name brands. But also, you're not supposed to use water in the painting process. Everyone does, but you're not supposed to. Not everybody does, but most people do. But yeah, you're not supposed to. So it's really only for the cleanup. And to me, that actually sounds like it makes the paint worse than regular oils. Because the cleanup in regular oils, um, if you paint often, is really easy. If you don't paint often, then I guess it's about the same. But yeah, if you paint often, uh, the cleanup in oils is really, really quick and light. And by often, I mean like, let's say 3 to 4 times a week. You paint 3 to 4 times a week. Cleanup should be pretty quick and easy because I don't personally wash my brushes after every time I paint, and a lot of artists I know don't. They just clean them and then they some soak them in oil, some use a brush dip. But basically, they find ways of just leaving them as is, kind of thing, without actually washing them. So it's a lot quicker. And then for mediums, it's worth mentioning some mediums have solvents in them. A very popular medium is liquid. That has solvent in it, so you do have to be careful of fumes if you do choose to use that one. Um, but there are a ton of mediums that that don't have solvents in them, like just plain old oil. You know, linseed oil or walnut oil. You can use those, and they don't have any solvents in them, so no fumes, no concern there. Gamblin makes solvent-free, uh, some solvent-free products that you can use. They have a solvent-free gel, which is really good. I prefer. Yes, I am. Okay, you can put it over there. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Michelle brought me a snack. Um, but yeah, you can use I use oleo gel, which is solvent free, but it's it's just a gel linseed oil thing. Uh, s- like I said, oh my God, my brain. Gamblin has a gel like that, very similar. Oh, there we go. Like, why was I washed out before? I know when you first get into oils, there's like a ton of things to learn up front, and it can be overwhelming. But there's also a ton of resources out there for free. So many good artists out there who have resources on how to get started. Um, I have a few videos in my Discord. I should actually kind of combine them all somehow, like make a playlist. But there's a few YouTube channels that I can recommend. There's Chelsea Lang is really good. Um, Lena Danya is really good. Of course, you can go into my Discord and ask me questions too if you need. I have a Discord and I have links, or not, rather, I have channels for, oil painting or art questions. Actually, wait, do I have one for questions? I have one for critique or feedback. I don't know if I have one for questions. People just ask me wherever most of the time. Yeah, no chat room for asking questions. Huh. Maybe I'll change that. Like I said, everyone just kind of asks me wherever. Probably just use general for that. Yeah, basically. Oh, we got a visitor. Dresden. Hi, little boy. Hi, little boy. All right. I have to minimize this window. All right. Dresden. What? Baby boy. Yeah. Hi. Hi, little boy. Oh, how was your nap? Did you have a good nap? Yeah. There's no cat in my screen. Don't worry about it. You're so silly. You're so silly. You're such a silly boy. Look at this fluffy belly. Oh, you're in attack mode now, huh? Okay. Such a vicious animal biting me. What gloves am I using? Uh, I am using the Costco Kirkland gloves. They are nitrols? Nitrile. Yep. I was muted. Michelle brought me a snack. I thought I was going to take a bite, but it's cold and not good cold, so yeah, bite for now. This is asking about the gloves some more. Yeah, they come in sizes. These are large. Um, I think I can stretch a medium onto my hand, but I have to stretch it. They're tight. Um, they're not very stretchy, the gloves. I mean, they can stretch, but they're not like latex gloves that are like, springy. Dresden, little boy, I want to give you attention, but I have to be able to do it like this. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Thank you, little boy. I didn't minimize the window, so I have to make sure he doesn't see himself in the screen. I know it's in the corner right now. I didn't plan on picking him up again. Mhm. Yeah, they have a little size thing on the side too to help you figure out what size you need. Yeah, having gloves around the house is always useful. I'm not always surprised, but uh I've gotten used to having them around the house. Like it's always useful for something, the between the cats and stuff around the house and even just like if you cut yourself and you have a band-aid and you want to, cook something, it's, it's just useful. All right. I try to paint most of my painting while zoomed out of my reference. I try not to get too close and tight on my reference. I feel like it's a good habit to do to be able to see you know, more of the painting because so many things are it's purely an issue of relativity, in painting. Um, but I get to the like very, very small details. I inevitably start zooming in a little bit. This is the part where I also struggle sometimes finishing, like doing this type of detail work on stream. Because, like, I have to try not to be in the shot and everything. Be awkward. I'm actually basically doing, I think it's a lunge. Isn't it a lunge where you take like big steps forward? Yes, big step forward. Yeah. Yeah. I'm basically doing a lunge right now just to try and stay out of the camera. I do have a stool thing I could try using. It's just that one's, I've had mixed results with that thing. May need to buy a replacement at some point. Once I get the feature, like a lot of this painting is already, very, I don't want to say very done, but a lot of it's done. I just, once I get the features in, and then I put in the hair over the forehead, that'll be the majority of it. There's some more stuff to do, obviously, but a lot of the other stuff I'm going to go in and make it kind of messy anyways. His features are fantastic. His features are so like overpronounced. It's crazy. Ori Shaw, welcome. I'm here in lurk mode. Don't want to distract. Also busy uh, animating as it was. Hey, no worries. You're more than welcome to lurk. But thank you for saying hi. I appreciate it. I know people watch after the fact, but it's nice to know that there are people here at the time when I'm actually painting. Uh, Even though, like I said, I know people watch afterwards, so I do take that in consideration, or try to at least. Right now, I'm trying to handle the stubble. Unless you want to be stuck painting every individual hair, uh, which some people do. I don't. Good to develop uh, a style that doesn't demand that. Personally, I do not want to paint every hair. Like I'll probably go in at the very, very end and like, paint in a few strays here and there, just so that it, more convincing, so to speak. But yeah, no, thank you. And another thing is I also don't want to be one of those artists who uses like, you know, that's the word I'm looking for. It's not, it's such a weird thing, but like templates or you know, like like the way that digital artists will use special brushes for special things. I don't really want to do that. So I don't want to have a brush that I'm like, okay, time to paint hair. Let's grab the brush that I used to paint hair because it's, messed up and it will create the hair texture. Don't get me wrong, having brushes to create certain textures can be very, very beneficial. You shouldn't have to paint everything with one brush, but it feels kind of, I don't know. I hate to say it, but it feels cheap in a way. And maybe that's not really the right word. Maybe I'm just not able to bring up the word that I want. But yeah, that says depends on the piece, though. It does. That's why I said it's not exact. Cheap isn't exactly the right word, but I don't know. Gimmicky? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say exactly. And I clearly don't have the word right now in my head or the expression. And there are times where it is very useful. I think the idea of like depending on it is part of the issue, maybe more than anything. That says I have a 5-layer process for getting detailed hair, but I'm not as fond of getting details as much now. That's fair. Corey says, yeah, the teeth even more so. Ask for that approach. LOL. And he also says, haha, the fan brush is hacky way to do hair. Yeah, I mean, a little bit, you know, depending, right? Like it just, I think it depends on how it's done, I guess. I don't know. Comedians call it hacky or sticky. Yeah, sticky maybe might be the right word for it. That says like Bob Ross for trees. Yeah, that's always what I think of. Honestly, anytime I think about that, I think about Bob Ross. I'm not kidding. Like that's what goes through my head. And I like, even though I actually really like Bob Ross in a lot of ways, that is one aspect of his art I don't. And so I try to avoid it. You know, I also love the way that some artists like convey, what's it called? They're able to convey, I want to say detail, but that, you know, they give the appearance of detail without actually having to paint all of the details. So it says I'm going to be doing my sister's braid. That should be interesting. You mean painting your sister's braid? Uh, I mean, it all depends on how, you know, how you want to approach it. I think that could, you know, I have a painting. Yeah, I'll show it in a little bit. I have a painting I did of someone with a braid, with a very, very long braid. Okay, let's see. Corey says, I always think that I should switch to smaller brushes at the end, but then get happy trying to get smaller with the one. Yeah, that's a good approach, honestly. This says, I'll be good. Half of it's in the bright sun, so you look forward to the contrast in the shadow. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, it is good to paint with bigger brushes as much as you can. I I know I'm using a smaller brush now at this point, but yeah, it is definitely good. I try not to use small brushes until the very end. I just can't, these details, I would be struggling to do these with my bigger brush. But if you can, it's really good to do. Real quick. That was just driving me crazy. All right. But yeah, this painting, he has two long braids, but it's very, very dark, so you can't see most of it, honestly. I just had to kind of indicate it. You see it the most here, I think, and maybe here. But yeah, this was such a fun painting. Also a very hard painting. All the patterns. Yeah, she has tattoos all over her hands, so I tried to incorporate them. Here's a question for you. All right. How many tubes of paint, and I don't mean like how many tubes did I go through, but like how many tubes as in colors, individual tubes do you think are in this painting? Just based off of what it looks like. Yeah, she has tattoos all over her arms and hands, so yeah. Corey says three colors. Okay. White, red, and blue. Des says four. All right. Okay. I don't think there's anyone else here who's guessing, so I'll tell you both wrong. Um, let me try and recall exactly how many. Um, Titanium white, one. Lead white, uh, red, which is, if I remember correctly, it is cad red light. Magenta, a blue, probably ultramarine blue, and a black. So 6. 2 whites. Cheater. Yes. Well, there's a reason for that. So here's what the reason. Okay, there's 2 reasons for the lead white. She is a painter who likes lead white. So in her honor, I used lead white. It's also warmer. So if you look at this, geez, hold on a second. Didn't realize it was even dusty. So if you look at it, her skin's very red and warm. It also has it also has lead white in it. Whereas the skull, the background, everything that's dead has cooler colors. So titanium white and so on. Yeah, that was the idea. That's why there's a very distinct difference between those colors. But I did something similar with this painting too. I don't have 2 whites, but this painting, 1 white, um, 1 white, but this also has white, red, white, yellow, red, and I don't remember if I used black or black for the other things. So even though it looks kind of like 2 colors, it's a bit more there. Actually, I have one more piece kind of like that I can show. Let's see. It'd be right here. No? Oh, thought it was right here. I was just going to grab it real quick, but no. Guess not. Oh well. Titanium was way too strong cool for certain things. Yeah, it is, although I think over time I've come to the conclusion that it's, you just need to be more delicate with it and use less of it, and it kind of not much of a like I haven't felt the need to use titanium white anymore. Or I mean lead white. Can I put it over here? Oh. Oh. Oh well. Never mind. Okay, guess I'll have to show it another time. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't find, I'll be honest, I wasn't like, I didn't fall in love with the lead white. I'll put it that way. Actually, I did find if you want a warm white, I have a titanium white. You can buy hold on a second. You can buy unbleached titanium white, or I got some titanium white from Mgram that has sunflower oil mixed into it as well, and that has a warmer consistency to it. But yeah, also I think maybe just um, the lead white that I bought may have just not been the best lead white in the world because some of the like features that everyone talked about on lead white that's like, oh, the ropiness, the stringiness, the like I don't know what they're talking about. I didn't feel a huge, a noticeable difference, but like I said, maybe I just got a bad tube. Where it says I got Kremitz white, it was just a soft and warm semi-transparent white, I'd say. Yeah, the white I got was not very soft, but it was very weak tinting strength. But it wasn't, I can't say that it was very soft at all. Quite the opposite. I've actually thought about contacting the company to see if they'd replace the tube I got, but it's been so long since I bought it. I feel like at this point I kind of don't, you know, it's been way too long kind of thing. But yeah, after talking to some other people, I'm like, I wish I'd done that earlier. Always is hard to know as a beginner when I got a bad batch of paint since the different pigments have different stiffness as well as brand to brand. Learning is slow. Learning it slowly. Yeah, no, that's exactly. This is a brand that I've never used before. And in fact, this is the only tube of paint from them, I think, that I have, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, how do I know if this is a brand thing or what? You know, it's really hard to know that. Like Gamblin's 1980 paint is their like student paint. It's much stiffer and waxy feeling compared to like their normal one. But even their normal paint is stiffer than like M gram. So yeah, ever try natural earth paint? I think it's called. You mean natural pigment? Um, uh, there's a what is it? There's Rublev, which is I think they're also I think their other name is Natural Pigment, if I'm not mistaken. I have their I use their oleo gel, but I have not tried their paint. They have a good reputation though. Just the price is, I think, the main issue with them. It's paint made from small batch source pigments, I guess. If it's Rublev or natural pigments, yeah, they have a good. Um, they're also more quote unquote traditional with their colors and their process and the mediums and everything. Um, but I've not tried their paint yet. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, yeah. They have a good reputation. I haven't, like I said, I haven't bought their paint yet. So, a couple of years ago, okay, so a little bit of a background. Years ago, when I was first starting out, okay, wait, hold on, sorry, I'm getting things confused. When I first started out, rather, and when I was new to oil paint, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on paint. I think that's fairly obvious. You're new, you want to kind of practice, learn. You know, you don't want to buy premium paints and so on. Then a few years ago, I won the self-portrait competition through Jerry Arterama's yearly self-portrait competition. So I got a gift card for you know Jerry's Arterama, and I feel really weird buying anything from anywhere else until I get through that the gift card money, unless they don't sell it, of course, you know, and I need it. So I haven't bought any paint that that Jerry's Artorama doesn't sell for that exact reason. Because it's like, well, the paints that they do sell are good. These are professional grade, and they're definitely like quote unquote good enough. And they do sell premium brands too if I ever wanted them. So yeah. Uh, Corey says, worth a shot, I think, on my next order. Premium Winsor Newton and Gamblin has been mostly what I've used. Money isn't really an issue for me at my age, thankfully. Nice. Uh, what is so funny is I just saw the Jerry's Autorama self-portrait contest in my email this AM. Oh, really? Is it? They they do. I mean, they do it every year, so, but I haven't kept track of it. I feel weird. I'll be honest. I feel a little weird submitting a second time for it. You know what I mean? If I didn't win, I wouldn't feel weird about it. But I did win first place, so I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable submitting again. Or he says, haha, come on, grab that award cash for more paintings. Yeah, no, I like I said, I feel a little weird about it. Uh, you know, I'll be honest, I don't think they should let me win either, right? So then it becomes a thing of like, well, there's nothing in the rules that says I can't, but I feel like that's not in the spirit of it, right? So it's like, well, I shouldn't win. So if I shouldn't win, why even bother? You know, I don't know. And of course, that sounds super conceited, like there's no doubt I would win again. And that's not true at all, right? Like, of course, there's a good chance I wouldn't win, even if I could. Uh, but I feel like regardless, they shouldn't even let me. So, yeah. Corey says, yeah, I agree with you. More blessings come to those being honorable in their pursuits. I hope so. you know, so I did enter a competition recently that it was one of those things where it's like I entered. Um, I don't want to say just to enter because that's not entirely accurate. I entered because I want, obviously I'd love to win, but it was more that I was hoping that by entering, more people would see my art um, than if I didn't enter. But my anticipation was that I wouldn't win. And usually I tell people to, I try not to like be pessimistic, but it wasn't so much pessimism as it was just like I'm looking at the style of this competition, and I'm looking at the previous winners, and I'm evaluating everything, and I'm like, I'm just not their bag. Like my style just I can tell isn't what they go for. So I was like, yeah, probably. I mean, the chances are slim to none. Corey says, truth is the artists, uh, truth is the artist's main compass. Keep it as pure as possible. There's another brand of paint that I can never remember the name of that has a good reputation as well. I'm trying to remember their name right now. They also do small batches. Actually, there's a few. There's I think it's Blue Creek or something like that. They're local to California, and they do small batches, uh, like handmade everything kind of situation. Geneva is not going to make paint anymore. Or I think they're licensing the name to another company, but they're actually stopping. And they are local to Austin, Texas, by the way. Oh, cool. I'm in California, LA. Right. Nice. Wait, you said you were working on animation. Do you work in the animation industry? Have we talked about this before? Do I know you off a stream by any chance? There's a chance. Yeah, Blue Creek, but there's also another brand. I'm trying to remember, but I'm like spacing on it. I can try and look for it later. Um, but yeah, there's also another smaller brand that I cannot remember the name of. Corey says, "Yes, sir. I have 2 Oscars and a few Emmys for it. I told you I was a graffiti guy, but not about my career." Oh, interesting. That's awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. Uh, the reason I asked is because uh, for work right now, I'm working in TV animation. I'm on Crapopolis as a storyboard artist. Uh, and I know a bunch of people who work in animation as storyboard artists. Uh, so that's why I was like, do I actually know you from somewhere? Yeah, that's very cool. That's awesome. Today working on a TV show for Ryan Reynolds. Welcome to uh, Wrexham. Ah, that's very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. Oh, nice, man. I've been TV film for 25 years plus. You have me beat, that's for sure, as far as the time in the industry. Uh, but yeah, um, yeah. For the last, I'm trying to remember. I think it's like 4 years. I've been working on 3 years. I don't even remember at this point. Crapopolis, which has been great. Uh, I love the crew. Everyone's been fantastic. Really great production. Uh, Actually, I used to be in LA. Now I'm in Austin, Texas, because I got a job here originally. Uh, I came out here to work on Seis Manos, which was a really fun show. I wish it had gotten a second season. Out of curiosity, have you ever worked on either The Simpsons or the original Beavis and Butthead show? Because if you did, we probably have some mutual friends. I think it's hilarious how small the industry is sometimes. Actually, the world. I'll tell you what, I ran into someone I knew from halfway around the world once at a restaurant randomly, just absolutely randomly. And it's just like, how is this even possible sometimes? Oh no, you didn't work on those shows you wish you had? Yeah, those were I'm a fan. But yeah. All right, cool. Thought I'd ask. Yeah, the world is a funny place sometimes. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that that's happened. Like my partner right now, my girlfriend, partner is more accurate. She was friends with my ex before what's it called? Before we got together. Um, so it's just it's such a funny like, and they both met me independently of each other. Just such a like I don't know. Life's funny that way. Corey says, I love those moments of Matrix glitch synchronicities. Yeah, they can be a lot of fun for sure. I've had some really good things come from stuff like that. If I remember, if I can find the name of that other company, I'll let you know what it is. I probably won't remember now, but maybe I can find it if I look for it online. Like GH something or NGH. I can't, like my brain just will not bring up the name for some reason. But I do like to I do like to what's it called? I don't want to say promote because I haven't used them, so I can't like say anything. But I do like the idea of supporting smaller, producers. We don't want to end up with just like the big companies only. So curious what you will do with the edges on the back of his head, with the hair. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to make it messy probably. Like I'll put some of it in there for sure, but it's not going to be not going to be like in the reference photo. Where he says I'd be tempted to leave it how it is. Yeah, there's certain aspects I probably will if I'm being honest. but there are certain things I'll probably go in and just kind of form and change. There's also a few things I'm not going to mention, but that look very off to me that I have to make sure to like, adjust. Actually, I can say it now. I don't know why I'm saying I can't say it. Right now it looks like he has a face in his hair, which I'm going to make sure to get rid of. Like bokeh kind of light warping around his hair. Yeah. So I have this idea that I have kind of been that's been bouncing around my head of like kind of breaking reality, or reality like constructing itself kind of thing. I don't necessarily have the exact like it's more of a feeling and a like general concept than it is like something that I'm going to be able to put entirely into words. Um, but I'm trying to kind of incorporate more of that into my paintings now, because I had that idea come up, and I want to do that. And I don't want to do that so much on the face, generally speaking, because faces are so important to us. So that leaves other areas to get that treatment. And also, it kind of goes with the concept that I have in my head, because the idea is that it's this thing that's kind of like on the fringes. Almost like if you like were to whip your head around fast enough, you'll be able to catch reality kind of building itself around you. Like I said, I don't want it to be entire like it's more of a concept or a feeling than it is like I'm going to make up, I don't know, like a world around this or something. But yeah. Where's this haha little hair buddy lurking, right? I'm people always find like faces and palettes and stuff like that. I'm kind of surprised no one's mentioned it yet. Now that I mentioned it, there'll be someone will inevitably bring it up. But yeah, he says, I love that. That sounds like the feeling when you're on shrooms and you see the inner structures. Funny you should say that. I wasn't on shrooms, um, but I've been getting, recently I stopped, but I was doing treatment, ketamine treatment. And that is where I got the idea. Although I've had that idea before, different. This just kind of solidified it. But yeah, it was what like kick-started it recently. I'll put it that way. Ketamine. Yep. And of course, as I did a documentary, uh, with Lamar Odin, it can save lives. Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah. Well, I was going for treatment. And I talk about this openly because I don't want people to feel, I don't want people to feel like it's a big deal in their lives either. But I was going because of depression. So I was going for treatment for depression. And it really helped in the beginning. I think after a while, it stopped being beneficial and became actually more disruptive. I don't want to say harmful, but disruptive. But I do think it had a really positive effect. Yeah. F Of course, it says from addiction to depression, overall neuro rewiring. Yeah, no, no, I agree. I, I, I agree. And I don't mind talking about it because I feel like people, you know, make too big of a deal of it. Like there's stigma attached to all of these things. And yeah, I don't think there should be. Where he says, yeah, you don't need to see God that many times. Hello. uh, their treatment is the way they do it is quite a few times, I'll tell you that. Oh, I don't know if you saw this report or this news article about this years ago, not years ago, I think a year ago or something. They came out with a thing saying that um, there's doctors that think that they figured out how to um, how to separate the psychoactive stuff um, from like an acid, I think it was, or LSD, which might be the same thing. I'm not an expert. Um, and they think they can separate out the chemicals that the psychoactive chemicals that make you trip and the chemicals that like help with depression, so that you can get the help with depression without having the psychoactive stuff. And it's just kind of like sometimes you gotta wonder, like, what's the point? Like, why? Why? Like sometimes things are good the way they are, you know? Where he says we all need some help removing the stigma 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Where he says, oh, wow, cool to hear. A chemical balance could be cool without the anxiety of facing your ego, etc., that comes with with a heroic dose. Oh yeah, and I can see other benefits to it too, of course, but you know, people. I mean, people who are dealing with depression or whatever, and they don't want to deal. They don't have the time necessarily to to take to go on a trip and all that. To literally go on a trip and so on. Like I can see benefits to it, but I still have to ask why. Uh, I feel like we might just benefit from like making it more legal and accessible more than we would from just messing with it. Or he says, I'm for the heroic dose myself, but it's not for everyone. Fair enough. Fair enough. So this part is very challenging because this is where I'm trying to differentiate, or not differentiate, but like I'm breaking from what the reference actually is. And that's always, not always, but that can be challenging because, when a reference is kind of a guide, right? Like it tells you what you need to do, where everything goes. And as soon as you start breaking from that, it gets complicated. The thing too is I have to make sure that it's not just like one eye is purple and then everything else is like normal colors. So I have to go back into different areas and start tying those things together so that it all kind of, what's it called? So it's more unified. Because I wouldn't want it to be very, I don't want to say sporadic, but like it would look weird if you just had like one purple eye and everything else was this, just quote unquote normal. Speaking of what we were talking about way earlier about the brush types and hokey and all that stuff, even with a brush like this that is, um, it's just a flat. You load it up in a certain way, and this isn't the tightest. 1 second. It's not the softest brush, so it's not the tightest brush in the world. Even with this brush, I can like softly with the edges feather things and to get more like scratches or like the hair and stuff like that. It's not the same as like, the it's not quite the same as like those other types of brushes, but it still can help allude to that. However, this brush that I have here, this one's way too soft and too tight to do that. So it does depend. You can different hairs have give different effects, which can be very very useful for different things for sure. And also for anyone who's getting into painting too, another thing too is that sometimes you don't have to give the texture to give the illusion of the texture. And what I'm referring to is like here, he has stubble, and just softening the edge can give the illusion of that texture from it. Maybe not up close, but at a distance. And that is a magic trick that I love in painting. Corey says, seems like it's good to not throw old brushes out as they might be nice for raggedy edge stuff. Absolutely, 100%. They're very useful for certain things. They can also be useful for other things that you wouldn't expect. Like, some of them are like I have one brush where the bristles they don't really bend very well, so you can really like get like really scratchy and textured looks to everything that you're not going to be able to get with any other brush because it's one of those things. So you literally can get like unique marks that you'll never be able to reproduce with anything else kind of thing. one of a kind marks type of thing, which personally I think is really cool. That to me is also one of those things where it's like this is the magic of, real medium where you can have something that is literally a one of a kind. And not only is it one of a kind, it's one of a kind at the very moment, and it will change over time. And you can influence that change by how you treat it, but you can't stop it from changing. And you also don't have real control over which way entirely it changes. And that's special. Corey says, proper proprietary marks. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I am also going to be uh, ending this stream soon in a few minutes. So I try to remember to say this on because I definitely don't post it enough. I stream 3 times a week. I stream uh, Monday night, Wednesday night, and I stream Sunday afternoon. For anyone who wants to join in on chat, I welcome you. And for anyone viewing after the fact, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then I have a Discord that people can join, ask questions, ask for critique, all kinds of stuff. I also post there before I go live so people know that I'm going live as a reminder. But yeah, um, I was really hoping I could finish this today, but yeah, not not always on it, I guess. So Des says I needed that snack. Des, you've been gone for like an hour. I think you just went and had second dinner is what happened. You're like I just imagine you like one of the hobbits now, like, you know, oh, time for third dinner now. Kidding around, of course. Laura says I don't eat enough today. You're keeping track on a Fitbit. That's fair. I was just joking around. I didn't realize Fitbit was still around. I thought they were gone. Dealing with the dogs and the cats and such. When there's food, there are pets. Yeah, fair. Of course, says smart. No intermittent fasting, not on purpose. I do kind of intermittent fasting sometimes. Not always, but I also am not like what's it called? I'm not very strict about it, but I'll eat my last meal in the evening or at night, and then I go to bed at 4. So I try not to eat late at night. So then I end up intermittent fasting out of just by the hours. It says that would just destroy my metabolism worse than it is. Would it? I thought it didn't. I thought it improves the metabolism, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't know crap. Corey says, you sure sound like a young man if you can still see 4 a.m. I am a perpetual night owl. Uh, I, yeah, you know, I suspect I will always, if my mom's any indication, I will always be a night owl uh, until the day I die. Yeah, I try not to stay up till 4. I try and force myself to go to sleep by 3 at the latest. Corey says at 48, it's way more rare. Uh, well, I'll let you know in uh, 5 years. Or he says, same my whole life. So nice and quiet at night. Hate the mornings. Yeah, yeah. This says my sleep is way messed up. I got an hour last night, went back to sleep 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Let the dogs out, then back to bed till 10 a.m. Jeez. Des, you're not going to bed, you're just napping is what you're doing at that point. Corey says, oof, my two dogs make it hard too. Relatable. Yeah, my cats do the same thing. If we if me and my partner both sleep in, they will come and try and wake us up to feed them. Absolutely. Very, very relatable. It says I tried. My sister comes home from work in the middle of the night and makes the dogs bark. Uh, then my brain goes into overtime. I can't sleep. Yeah. Whereas I'm glad my studio is away from my house and the hounds in the kitchen. Yeah. Yeah. My my little cat Dresden, he will if I don't if he doesn't get fed in the morning, he'll he comes to my face and starts licking my face and kneading my chest or my arm or something, which is adorable, but also like I'm trying to sleep and he's just, purring away and basically he's trying to wake me up with cuteness, um, which is very cute, I admit. And if that doesn't work, he moves on to headbutting. So, but yeah, I hope one day I'll be able to. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm working for a studio in LA now. I'm working for a bento box, and because they're in LA, I work most of the time LA time. So I start at 11 and finish at 8. Um, but it would be nice if I could start my day at like, I don't know, 2 or something like that. And then work late. I'm just that kind of person. So one thing I'm very cautious of, and I will address this later a little more, but I mention it a lot of times. I'm very cautious of like edges like this where I'm painting around the figure. I don't want to create like a halo around them. So I'm very cautious of that. I try and go in and break it up so you can't see that like halo around them. Let's see. All right. Corey says, I still can't believe Texas is so big. It's 2 time zones from LA. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I, I think there's also 2 time zones in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Like if you go to the one end, it's one. If you go to the other, it's a different. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, hold on a second. Let's do cat time before I leave. Uh, Dresden. Oh, I have to minimize my screen. I forgot. For anyone who doesn't know, Dresden saw himself in my monitor. Um, and now he's afraid of the cat that lives in my screen, which is him. Um, but he's not very bright. He definitely fits the orange cat. What's it called? Dresden, there's no one there. So yeah, he's afraid of my monitor now because of the cat that lives inside of it. He's not very bright, but he's very sweet. Aren't you, little boy? Yeah. See, he sees my monitor and he's like freaked out, even though he can't even see himself there anymore because I minimized the screen, the OBS screen, but he still freaks out because he's silly. He's such a sweetheart. Okay, go on. All right, everybody. He's a blonde. No, he's a ginger cat. They're known for the stereotype is that they all share one brain cell. All of the ginger cats together. Uh, yeah, but he's very sweet. But yeah. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out. It was great. Um, like I said, I stream 3 times a week: Monday night, Wednesday night, Sunday afternoon. Um, you didn't. Corey says he didn't know about the orange cat stereotype. Yeah, yeah. Um, it's I don't know. I don't know who started it, but there's something to it. I'll put it that way. um, you can find me on my socials. Liad is not a heart. Just spell it right, and you'll find me. And I have a Discord if people want to join. I post when I'm going to, when I'm streaming. There's a review channel, all kinds of information, and you can ask questions. And I see hair falling through there. That's nice. Anyways, oh, Yeah, see you soon, Sunday afternoon. Yep, exactly, Des. Garfield, of course, as Garfield started it. It may be. Um, yeah. Anyways, have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you around. Have a good one.